Hello. Today I decided I was gonna dispel some common myths and misconceptions about World of Warships. And the first one we have is that detonations are entirely RNG. In the background you'll see me, well, intentionally detonate 3 ships in a row, 3 bots. And the reason for this is because, well, while there's an RNG factor to detonations, it's actually not entirely RNG. There's in fact, the magazines are kind of like a module, and once it gets saturated, it has a chance to explode. In fact, a 10% chance to explode once it gets saturated. Battleships magazines are usually hidden in the citadel, but cruisers and destroyers often have them quite exposed. For example, Omaha's magazine is located under the front turret, so I can intentionally target it, saturate it, and with an Atlanta who shoots so many shells, getting that 1 in 10 chance is pretty easy, and well, I can detonate 3 ships in a row. Keep in mind that this doesn't mean it'll always happen, and it's different depending on ships and so forth. There is still some RNG involved, but the thing is not entirely RNG. And honestly, I should make a full video on how detonations work, because the magazines are different. You can see it's nowhere near the citadel where I'm actually shooting, because it's underneath the front turret where the magazine is. But detonations, not 100% RNG, and you can't detonate someone who's full HP. He needs to be about 70% health. The second misconception is that you can have something called too much penetration in World of Warships. It doesn't exist. That's why I can citadel a tier 3 cruiser and a Yamato with the same ship, because what determines whether you get citadels is shell velocity, shell arming time, and shell arming threshold, not penetration. Another misconception is that shattering your HE in any way affects your fire chance. It doesn't. You can shatter as much as you want, your fire chance is still exactly the same. Shattering, that's one of the reasons why HE is so strong. Even if it shatters, it can still consistently start fires. Shatters have absolutely no impact on fire starting chance. Another common myth is that shells shot into the water simply disappear. In this case, we're going to use the Yamato, which with the ridiculous 460mm guns has an fuse arming threshold of 77mm, which means in order for the shell to arm, it needs to punch through 77mm of armor. And for example, we're going to use a French tier 4 cruiser that has a ridiculously thin armor of a combined armor of, I think, 29mm. Basically, it's entirely made of paper, so a Yamato shooting the broadside of the ship should have absolutely zero chance of arming its fuse, arming its AP. Yet, if I aim at the waterline, I can actually arm my AP on the water and have the shell travel into the citadel of the ship, and that allows me to somewhat consistently score citadels on an incredibly thinly armed cruiser that I wouldn't normally be able to, because as you can see, if I don't hit the water, the shell just punches straight through him. A lot of people think that the conning tower, because it has armor, that it actually counts as part of the citadel. It does not. They also think that the barbettes that lead down to the citadel, and possibly even the turrets themselves, that they are citadels. Well, they're not. The only part that actually counts as a citadel is quite clearly marked in the armor viewer as part of the citadel. Nothing else counts as a citadel hit. It's quite easy to go in the armor viewer to select only the citadel, and that's really the only part you should be aiming for in hoping to score citadels. If you sometimes scored weird citadels, it's probably desync shells bouncing, all sorts of things, but it's not actually hitting the conning tower or hitting the barbette. Those do not count as citadels. As always, I hope you guys like the content, debunking 5 quick myths that I keep seeing repeated over and over again, because at this point it just annoys me when people repeat them, so might as well educate people. I'll see you guys next time.